SteamWorld Dig 2 is the fourth installment in the SteamWorld universe and the direct sequel to the original SteamWorld Dig that launched on the 3DS and later came to other consoles. SteamWorld Dig 2 has you play as a brand new protagonist, continuing the fun gameplay many have come to love with the original title. SteamWorld Dig had you play as Rusty, a robot that inherited his uncle's mine. Another robot friend of his named Dorothy would trade in his minerals in return for cash, but in SteamWorld Dig 2 she's actually our protagonist. Now this is a direct sequel to SteamWorld Dig 1 that takes place before the events of SteamWorld Heist. If you don't want spoilers for the ending of SteamWorld Dig 1, then skip ahead to the time you see on screen. At the end of SteamWorld Dig, Rusty takes out the final boss of the game, blowing up both himself and the enemy in the process. Dorothy isn't too convinced that Rusty is gone, so she starts looking for him in the remains of the mine. SteamWorld Dig 2 has Dorothy continuing her search for her friend, following different leads she's heard about regarding his whereabouts. Along your journey, you'll find a new friend named Sprite, a Vectron-looking sprite that helps guide you through the mines with his map. The story will take you across a handful of different terrain-themed mines, all connected via a large hub world. One of my gripes with the original SteamWorld Dig was that it was pretty short at about 5 hours long, and it really kept me wanting more. Luckily, SteamWorld Dig 2 delivers slightly more on that front, providing a 6 to 7 hour campaign, although that's just getting the core powered. The final game percentage suggests that there's plenty of secret areas left to explore, though I definitely want to see more story missions or story DLC in the future. The story is told primarily through text dialogue spoken between different characters, and while they don't speak an actual language but rather make rambling noises, the charm of the writing definitely gives life to the characters and their quirky personalities. Despite Rusty not being the main character of this game, I never felt like this was less of a game because of it. Dorothy is an awesome and at times sassy character with the color scheme very familiar to Samus, which only becomes more fitting once we start talking about the gameplay. SteamWorld Dig 2 is very much a metroidvania game at heart, down to Dorothy pretty much having the same color scheme as Samus herself. While a lot of the gameplay mechanics from the first SteamWorld Dig are present, I think the biggest change you'll notice right away is the speed and smoothness in the platforming. Everything just feels smoother and faster as compared to the first game. You can sprint across different terrains, jump from wall to wall, and it just feels zippier. As Dorothy explores the no longer randomized but handcrafted mines and lands looking for her friend, she'll come across many different obstacles but also new powers and upgrades that will further her journey to find her friend. You start off pretty small in terms of your arsenal with just a pickaxe, but as you start digging through the mines, you'll find minerals that you can trade in for cash. This cash, along with cogs that you can either find hidden throughout the game or just buy them, are used to upgrade your tools and equipment. The cogs let you mod your tools, giving them buffs like the Hunter Edge mod for your pickaxe that gives it 5 extra XP for destroying enemies with it. One new mechanic with the cogs is that they're actually now interchangeable. You can use 3 cogs that you found on your pickaxe right now, but later on if you decide that you need to buff your armor instead, you can swap the cogs over to your armor if you want to. Aside from the cog mods, you can upgrade the weapons you have, like upgrading your default pickaxe to an iron one, which is much more efficient at cutting through tougher materials. It's a cool upgrade system because even if you're not following the story's objective and gaining new powers at the moment, you can just dig around the mines for minerals and then use the cash and cogs to improve your current tools. Now I mentioned XP earlier, and this is where the level system in the game comes in. The progression of your level is shown at the top as you gain XP, and you can earn XP by destroying enemies you find in the mines. Leveling up will earn you more buffs on top of the tool upgrades you already have. Actually, some of the tools and upgrades will be kept behind a level wall themselves, so the two pretty much go hand in hand. As you begin to explore the mines, you'll find all sorts of different creatures and items down there. You'll come across entrances that lead you deeper into sections of the mine, usually with different terrains from the one you were previously in. Teleport tubes will act as fast travel spots, allowing you to quickly travel between different sections of the mine or quickly return back to the surface to cash in your findings. I found that the locations of the teleport tubes were spaced just enough for you to get to the general area of where you wanted or needed to go, but not exactly a quick shortcut to right where you needed to go. I always had to do some sort of manual mining to get to the spot where I needed to get to, despite there being a teleport tube in the area. Let's talk about the resources you have to keep track of while mining down here. You have your health, which is pretty self-explanatory, but you also have fire and water. Fire powers your furnace and it's used to keep the lights on while you're exploring the deep trenches of the mine. The jackhammer will let you pummel through harder pieces of rock, while the grappling arm will let you grab onto different surfaces. These are only some of the tools you'll earn, but by the end of the game you really will feel like this awesome powerful miner. I'd argue even more powerful than Rusty in the first game. Anyway, you'll use these new powers to progress the story, continuing on your exploration of mines, while also occasionally backtracking and unlocking new sections of old areas thanks to your new powers. SteamWorld Dig already had some stellar gameplay, and the sequel only adds on and improves upon it. Many times during my playthrough I thought to myself, okay, I played a few hours, I'm gonna go work on something else now, and then come back and finish, and that just never panned out. As much as I tried multitasking on another project, I'd find a secret area or a new section of a mine and suddenly I'd be digging for minerals, cashing in my findings, upgrading my tools, and repeating the process all over again. 6.5 hours later I had beaten the game and the entire day had gone by. It's that polished and addicting to play. What makes the hook even worse, or I guess better, is that there's so many secret mines to find that the game encourages you to keep exploring, do multiple playthroughs, and definitely speedrun it. I especially love that there's a contact section in the extra submenu of the game because it shows that the team behind this game is a dedicated one who should be proud of what they've accomplished. I just want to give a shout out to Paulina, the relations manager over at Image and Form, who made this game. I know for a fact that it's been a pretty crazy week over there at the office with the launch of this game this week, so I just wanted to say to your team, your hard work has definitely paid off. SteamWorld Dig 2 is lovely in its visual design. Dorothy may be cute looking, but don't let her looks deceive you, she's an amazingly skilled protagonist. The environments and backgrounds use this multi-layer system to give depth to the surroundings. I specifically like the use of lighting with the 2D art. Every time you swing your pickaxe, you'll see a slight glow of sparks coming from the pickaxe. When you're digging in an isolated mine in the middle of the dark, that slight lighting effect touch really does help set the tone of exploration. There's a mine in the game that pretty much cranks up the visuals to 10 with all the crazy chaotic stuff happening, and it's both terrifying and exhilarating. It's honestly something I just didn't expect to feel from this game. If you plan on playing this on Switch, the gameplay scales down pretty well on the 720p display. Actually, the short 6.5 hour campaign makes it a great game to finish on a long commute. The music library in SteamWorld Dig 2 is very fitting as each terrain type and land area has their own sort of theme to it. For example, you get a pretty funky sounding loop while you spend long periods of time digging in the main mine, while you get more of a western movie track as you explore the hot desert. Mix those music tracks with some ambient noise and the clicks and clanks of your tools going to work, and you get a great musical mix. Again, that one specific mine where things get a little bit spooky to say the least really nailed the audio aesthetic. It's probably my favorite section of this game. SteamWorld Dig 2 is absolutely great and it gets a solid recommendation from me. The gameplay is fun and addicting with a ton of areas to explore outside of the 6.5 hour main story mode. Really, my only complaint with SteamWorld Dig 2 is that I wish the story was longer, just like the first game. It left me wanting more even though the game is already about an hour and a half longer than the first game. Luckily, there's a ton of secret areas for you to explore, tools you can max out, and speedruns you can attempt that I'm sure you'll immediately want to jump into for a second playthrough. I played most of my review on PC, though I did play a few sections on the Switch, so now I do definitely plan on going back and finishing my second playthrough as my first playthrough on Switch. SteamWorld Dig 2 comes to the Switch on September 21st, then Steam on September 22nd, and then PS4 and Vita on September 26th, 27th if you're in Europe. No matter the platform you're on, do yourself a favor and pick this game up. That's my review of SteamWorld Dig 2 for the PC, Nintendo Switch, Vita, and PS4. If you have any questions about the game that I may have missed in this review, feel free to ask me in the comment section down below and I'll do my best to get back to you. If you do enjoy this content, then please consider dropping a like, it really does help me out and I really appreciate it. Thank you all very much for watching and keep on gaming.